In this Creating Content That Works video, we're going to talk making your content bite-sized. Teeny, 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 tiny. Hi, I'm Sam Nordberg. Welcome to Weekly Mini Training, and this week, as I mentioned, we are in the Creating Content That Works series, and we are talking about bite-sized content. We're talking about teeny, teeny, tiny content. You see, the world is a mass with stuff at the moment. The wonderful thing about the internet is it gives us access to a whole heap of data, and the downside to the internet is it gives us access to a whole heap of data. Stuff is coming out of people's ears at the moment. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on your blog, it's in long form copy, it's in video form, it's in podcast form. There is stuff. There is stuff everywhere. We are in an age of overwhelm, and more so than ever before, we have an incredibly short attention span. It's part of the reason when people record videos like this, they put the little intro bit at the beginning and then they put their logo and the music. Because if they just put the logo and the music at the beginning, they lose you because your attention span isn't long enough to care. So, with that teeny, teeny, tiny attention span and there being content everywhere, if you want your audience to engage in your content, if you want to create content that actually works in helping them, in breaking through all that noise, in actually getting a result for them, then it needs to be teeny, 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 tiny. There is still a place for long-form content. I'm not saying everything has to be microbytes. There is still a place for long-form blog copy. There is still a place for how-to guides. That stuff still has a place. But to help your audience engage with you more often, you cannot write 3,000 word blog posts every week because you know what? Reality is they're not going to sit down and read them. They just don't have the time. You can, however, deliver short, sharp content in tiny little bite-sized pieces. So how small is bite-sized? Well, that depends on your audience. Different audiences have different amounts of times available to do this sort of stuff. So if you've got a corporate audience, for example, and they dedicate time to professional development, and that includes your blog or your vlog, well, then you might be able to create bigger bits of content than another audience. If you've got an audience who are always on the move, perhaps they do work in that corporate environment and they're listening to your podcast. Maybe that means they're on the train for 20 to 30 minutes a day. Maybe you've got an opportunity to build 30 minutes worth of content and they'll get an opportunity to listen to it in one go. However, that's not always the case. If you've got an audience who's highly busy, maybe their attention span is like a minute or two on their phone between the kids yelling at them. Like, that's not very long to look at your content. And so if you want something that's really going to grab them, it's got to be grabby enough that they can read what they need to in that first 2 minutes, even if it means they have to come back to it later. So maybe the overview or the first points have to be short and succinct so they can see it and go, oh, that's really good. I have to come back and look at this later. So your attention span of your audience might be real short. I find that for my audience, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. They don't have 30 minutes. They're kind of busy. They are running their own business, but it's not a 2 to 3 minute kind of a thing. They're often at their laptop during the day. They are actively working on their stuff. They're not opposed to watching 5 to 10 minute videos when the time comes around to it, as long as they've allocated time to do that. And then they will often watch 2 or 3 videos in a row because when they actually sit down and get down to it, they've allocated time to it. They might not watch it weekly, but they will definitely come back and watch a couple of videos in a row. So that's what works for my audience. That might not be what works for your audience. What are they doing with their day? How much free time do they have? And then work out how much of that they're willing to give to listening to content of some sort. If you're going to make your content useful for your audience, if you're going to make content that works, it needs to be bite-sized, and that all depends on how big their bite is. There is no right answer. For videos though, I find that 2 to 3 minutes is good, up to 5 minutes is okay, and a little bit more than that when you have your moments depending on your audience. So my challenge for you today is to make your content bite-sized. That includes your social posts, your blogs, your vlogs, and everywhere else in between. Comment down below for me and let me know how you make your content bite-sized. I would love to hear from you. So I hope you enjoyed this week's bite-sized video on being bite-sized. If you did, make sure you hit subscribe for me. YouTube is the best place to get my first videos as they come out. Weekly Mini Training comes out weekly. Funny that, in case you hadn't noticed. Weekly Mini Training comes out weekly. We talk all things building your business online. That includes mostly content creation, including course creation and membership sites. So make sure you subscribe down below and watch another video. If you've got time, go find something that interests you. There's about 100 of them on here, and I'm sure you'll find something. That's it for now, guys, but as always, I will see you in the next video.